Welcome to the Codebuddies community hangout. Today we're going to be looking at how to build a website with Python and the Wagtail CMS. Wagtail is built on top of Django, which is a mature web development framework. It's kind of got a batteries included philosophy, meaning it comes with a lot of useful things out of the box. And that's inspired by the Python language itself, which tends to have a lot of useful libraries in the standard utilities in the standard library to do most of what you need to do. Django focuses on the developer experience primarily, giving you a lot of confidence when you're coding that things are scalable and secure, and it makes your development process pretty fast. But it's lacking a content management system, so the Wagtail CMS sits on top of the Django framework. And I've been covering it a little bit in the last few live streams, so I'm not going to go into too much depth, but essentially it's a content management experience with some innovations like a stream field where you combine sequences of different types of content. Underneath it, it's represented as a JSON kind of object with an array. I'm not sure. I've not looked into the data structure yet, but we'll be building that later. It's got image handling, and it's ready to power any kind of API-driven apps out of the box. It's really easy to get set up. So the project we're working on today is continuation of this Western Friend magazine website. And essentially, we're just looking at one section of it, the magazine section, which is the core of what Western Friend is. So the magazine has an index page that lists all of the recent archive issues. And each issue has a number of articles that are grouped together into sections, and some of which are featured. And today we're going to look at the featured articles part. So without much more ado, I guess we do. Whoops. Go to the left and whoops, to the right. So a magazine issue, which we're looking at here, is represented as a database model that inherits from the page class. This comes out of the Wagtail system. Pages are hierarchical, meaning they have parents and children and siblings, and each this inherits from the Django base models class, I believe. It's an abstract model, so it doesn't have a database table. And we want to represent some of these as being featured. When I look here at the magazine article magazine fields, it looks like it's a flag field. I'm not sure how we do represent featured here. I was thinking about using a Boolean field and auto-populating. This featured articles area. But what might be nicer is if when editing the magazine issue, if you just could select the featured articles directly. I think this will be useful not only for the individual magazine issue, but even on the homepage, we have some featured content. And Mary basically likes to select those, kind of curate that featured articles list there. The problem is in Drupal, we've had to resort to, well, we didn't have to, it's not, but we couldn't figure out a different way. We kind of resorted to a kludge to populate this as a view. I can't even remember, but it's something to do with it has to be published and promoted to the front page, which is an internal part of the Drupal content model. So that's what we're considering featured. And the trick was that it sorts something about the recent updated date. So in order to control the ordering of these, Mary would have to go in and just make a revision, and that's kind of kludgy in my opinion. So I'm hoping that figure out a way today during this session to give a more robust featured articles approach, at least to the magazine issue page. I'm going to check on the stream again, see if there's anybody in here or chatting. I don't want to overlook these chat messages. I tend to do that. If you would like to participate in this Hangout, the best way to do so is to come over to the Codebuddies website and click the Hangouts. And you can just join right there. And that way I'll be able to hear you, and I'll hear you join. But otherwise, you can leave a question or comment on the YouTube video form, and I'll respond to those. So now that I have thought about this again, I think I'm going to go with the approach of manually selecting the featured articles rather than toggling a featured flag and somehow relying on sorting by who knows what arbitrary thing, published date, or page title would be fine. That might be simpler, in fact. In fact, I had thought more through how to do that. I believe as part of your first Wagtail site tutorial, there was a section where you add related tags. Or images is a good example. So you have a blog page and then a gallery image. So what we would basically do is create magazine issue, featured article, and the page would be this. Reference to the magazine issue. There's a page chooser. Yeah, well, this is basically what we're doing. A little bit of both. Because we want the magazine issue to have multiple featured articles. And they're orderable. That's cool. Yeah, I think this is a more robust way of handling that, like content curation. All right, let's do this. Let's see. I'll define it afterwards. Not sure how to overall I would like to organize these classes. Oops. Magazine issue, article. Let's see. Wagtail might do that properly for me. Actual core models. Yeah, it's not quite how I've done it in fields. Comes before models, but pretty close. Okay. So magazine issue, featured article. So the issue equals yeah. Where are we at? Parental key. Where's something else there? Yeah. Model cluster fields. And they're doing that before the Wagtail imports. That's interesting. So it must be kind of coming from, not sure, third party. What's this pep saying? It refers to a magazine issue. Oops. Data name equals featured articles. They're using, yeah, snake case. Basically, an issue. I should be able to get a preset of feature articles. Great. In just a moment, I'm going to grab some more tea. So this inline panel. Let's go to content. See if I can run this without it crashing. Yes. So if I go to the magazine, just for the example, there are 3 tabs. There's a content tab, a promote tab, and a settings tab. I'm thinking this might go good under the promote tab, but let's just put it on the content tab for now. We'll talk about the rearranging this stuff later. Okay. So that's the content panels here, which is already defined. A magazine, issue, content panels. The relationship featured articles, label, equals. Featured articles. this whole need of migration. Looks like inline panels not defined. Where are we at? Terminal. Let's see. Yeah, so I need to give this some panel. Over here, page chooser panel. Well, this just has panels. Equals. Page chooser panel. So the second argument here is what type? I think as a relative, this should work. So that's good. So this is the field. They're using a foreign key here. Mixing stuff up too much. Yeah, it should be foreign key. Damn. Why would it mess this up already? There can be none. But then here's how I'm going in circles. It's only a foreign key because the feature article is not necessarily a parent-child relationship. But since this is an inline panel, panel, I believe then panels is the correct way to display the field. All right, let's try this. Foreign key is not defined, so that's models.foreign key. Hmm. Okay, so you have to be explicit. You can't just omit the app name. Essentially, the magazine app is where we're defining all these models. And I thought since we're already file that I could just, omit the app, but that's not the case. Also, the related name is important, and I had copy and pasted code from here that had a related name of plus instead of featured articles, but featured articles is more natural here. Okay, let's see if this works. I hope this works. If not, I'll just have to try something else. Okay, so this is the magazine index page. Magazine index page. Pages. Let's go to one issue on children. Okay, good. We have something here. Well, it's just not going to work this way, is it? The key error. Again, coming here. Add field. Alter field. Issue. Edit handlers. Instance bound. So I believe, since we're inheriting from edit handlers here, the page chooser panel. parental relationship. Or do we? Because I guess they are featured. Yeah, this featured article is a parent. Okay. Well, this is just getting into guesswork now. Dang it. Okay, well, it's actually almost worked. Let me see, why is this? Okay, that's really close. I think this is the recipe I need to follow. Okay. So the related post, which is the, jeez, content page. So that's what I'm doing wrong. I have to link both to the blog page and the issue. I have to have both of those. It's basically a join. All right. So we'll need them both. So first the page is the parental key. Okay, got the imports. Okay, so this parental key, I can just use the model class directly. Magazine issue. Cascading delete because featured articles aren't relevant once you've deleted the issue. And this will be featured articles. Next, the important part is the article has a foreign key relationship to magazine article. I don't understand this. To work without. Means that if the article is deleted, then this will be also deleted. So essentially, if either the article or issue are deleted, it should cascadingly delete this featured article instance. Page, oops, choose your panel. And this will be article. All right, then we inline panel. Man, I hope this works. It's a little bit of guesswork. Put it above here for just testing purposes. Where's that page chooser coming from then? Wagtail Admin, edit handlers. Oh, of course, I've done that before. All right. Make migrations, please. I want to add them. Then I guess it has to be nullable. Well, damn. Oh. Weird. I thought it's right there. That's 1, 2. All right. One record argument, parental key. Well, this should be a 2. It's a positional argument, 2. Yeah. Okay. Looks like it's working. Never orderable. One thing I realized, I don't even know how to begin here, but they should only be coming from this issue. Well, that's progress though. For now. Now if I save, how did that work? I can't believe that worked. So it's adding some help text so it clarifies how to use this field. Okay, so let's get those featured articles in the user interface. See if it'll just be a matter of probing that attribute. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, since the count exists, is more than zero, zero is falsy, then we can now we'll be able to iterate all over those. So one UL, just for this case, or let's see, H2. So we iterate over the featured articles. Just see if that works. Article title. I'll get that. That still showed up. I thought I had fixed that. Must have forgotten to commit it. All right, I'll fix that. Okay, but this is not working. What's the deal here? Featured articles. So that's good sign. This works. No. All should be the one. Let's see if this is working at least. Might be just I'm getting the wrong property. Oh, it's not iterating over those. Page featured articles count. There we go. All right, so there's something there. No, that shouldn't be a matter of. Man, what the heck. Oh. Featured articles might be the intermediary items there. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, cool. That makes sense. This article is an instance of the magazine issue feature article. So I had actually reached into the article property and then get the title. Okay, no problem. We'll just follow suit here. We like this href to link to them. And I'll have to talk to Mary about the user flow here, but this one gives the most control. Just a little bit of redundancy. Yeah, for this, I'll just use this page URL. For the article, oops, shoot. Dot article. Link text should be article title. Yeah, and this, they're not mutually exclusive is another thing. Whether or not we want it to be that way. But this is working. Okay, well, I think that's pretty good progress. Let's go ahead and take a look, and I'm going to fix that other bug while I'm here, where it's displaying the slash character. And one other thing, I believe in the hierarchy, the page hierarchy, the image chooser for the cover image should come first. All right, let's fix this. Make sure that worked. Yep. Well, cool. That was actually, well, relatively straightforward. I don't know, relatively simple, but at the same time, a bit of a struggle. I think I'll call that a good stopping point for now. And later enhancements, I'll probably make these lists mutually exclusive so that the featured articles are only shown once, but perhaps that's not an important detail. Maybe it is okay that they show up twice. We're not doing any visual styling here. This is just purely focusing on the functionality. But yeah, still, Wagtail docs are even in some of these more edge casey scenarios, are pretty useful. I mean, I was able to figure it out just by closely following the docs and bending their examples a little bit and reading, particular documentation for the page chooser panel. And I think is really nice. Okay, we got somebody that just joined the Hangout. Hello. Alberta, welcome to the Hangout. It starts you off muted, so if you'd like to talk, if you will unmute your microphone, I can hear you. Basically, Alberta, I was just wrapping up this session.
How you doing?
Pretty good stopping point. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make much more progress. I added featured articles section.
Yeah, hello? Hello?
Oh, hello. I can hear you.
Can you hear? Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, it's Albert actually. For some reason,
okay, sorry.
I don't know what happened to the old Codebuddies website, but it ate up my my name. So the A right there is my middle initial. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, well we can fix that if you want to. I'm not one of the admins, but I'm friends with the site administrators. If you want to reclaim your old username,
I know Linda pretty well, so
oh yeah, cool.
I'll check it out later. So what you were saying earlier was that you're wrapping up.
Yeah, I mean, I could try to do a little bit more coding if you want to check it out. The Wagtail framework.
Right, and I've heard about it. It ties into Django, right? It's
Yes.
Okay.
It's built on top of Django.
Yeah.
So essentially, you get all the batteries that Django provides, and then you get a really nice content management experience. It's kind of like WordPress.
Yeah, I read a part. They're from New Zealand or something like that. The owners is based off of the bird Wagtail, right?
Yeah, I think the main developers are in.
Something like that. I don't remember. I think it was in
digital agency.
Yeah. Okay. I was trying to match up with the UTC, and I thought it would match up at 6. So there must have been some cross up with the time.
Oh yeah, it's 1:11 here, 1 a.m. So let's see, UTC. What time zone are you in?
I'm in Philadelphia. I'm in Northeast America.
Yeah. So let's see. Well, yeah. So time zones are really tricky ones, but in Europe, switching away from DST, daylight savings time, so it's going to get a little bit simpler.
Oh, I see. Oh yeah. Where you based out of?
I'm in Finland.
Oh, you're in Finland. Okay. Well, it's too bad. I don't know when's the next time you're going to have your Hangout. Well, I would like to join because I want to know a little bit about Wagtail.
Well, I can actually give you a quick run over of the current site.
I'm listening. I'm watching.
All right, cool. Yeah. That way you'll see the Wagtail code, how it works.
Yeah.
And just for context, we're porting over a site from Drupal. And it's a magazine website. And with some other features that we'll go into later. But so this is called the magazine index page. It lists all the magazine issues going back to 1929 in the deep archive. Each magazine issue has, this might seem obvious, but I'm just kind of explaining it because it's relevant when we go into the content modeling. Each magazine issue has a bunch of articles, and those articles are broken into sections. And some of the articles are featured because they're, for whatever reason, the editor wants to allow or draw attention to them, and also allow people who don't have a subscription to view certain number of the articles. So all the featured articles can be viewed by everybody
Mm-hmm.
for the recent issues, and all these are not viewable by general people. I should step back though, that everything after 6 months or older than 6 months is publicly available, going back
Mm-hmm.
all the way to 1929. It's in more or
Wow.
less the public domain.
Mm-hmm.
So they just want to prioritize, like 3 issues,
Mm-hmm.
keep those kind of to incentivize subscribers.
Right.
So issues they're published every other month. So they have a
Right.
couple months, and then every article has some fields like a title and some text, and you could do inline pictures and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's the Drupal site, and we've been working on that for like 4 years, and it's actually the live
Okay.
site. And what we did is I'm kind of basically modeling that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got this magazine index where I'm
Right.
not focusing on style. 3 issues have been created.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the nice part. When I go to Wagtail Admin,
Right.
it's fully fledged. It's like fully baked.
Mm-hmm.
It has image handling, document management. You can create snippets for like tagging things or organizing
Mm-hmm.
content.
So this came pre-built.
Yeah, this is just out of the
Wow.
box how Wagtail works.
Wow.
I have to do all the front end styling and
Sure.
templating,
Sure.
but it gives us an admin interface.
Hmm.
And it's a hierarchical content model. So everything is like to tree basically.
Right.
So our magazine index has child pages. You can edit
Mm-hmm.
the fields. It has a
Mm-hmm.
basic rich text editor, including
Right.
being able to upload documents and images,
Mm-hmm.
drag and drop, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I haven't gotten into it, but there's also this thing called this stream field, which is really nice. It's a JSON field that lets you string together different types of media, like pull quotes or even any arbitrary thing like YouTube videos.
Right.
You create a basic template. And it's the most flexible because I think for a long time people have been trying to shoehorn everything into a WYSIWYG editor, like CK editor, and it just doesn't
Right.
really work. And even in Drupal, like when we do these pull quotes or images, it's in the CK editor. It's not very like easy to do,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have much control in terms of styling. So we're
Mm-hmm.
hoping that Wagtail will give us a lot more flexibility with how we integrate different types of media.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh.
briefly, the way you model content, if you're familiar with Django, you'll probably recognize a lot of it.
Yeah, I know
Um,
some. I'm just starting to get into it.
yeah, cool.
I'm a new developer. I haven't been in the field yet. I'm still learning. Hopefully I could get a position by early next year. But I'm just in the process of just getting it.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, I'm familiar with the import and the from statements from Python.
Python.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, Django comes with a lot of different database fields, and it
Sure.
handles the database modeling for you.
Sure.
And all that. Well, what Wagtail does is basically extend the Drupal
Mm-hmm.
models to build a page model,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't store anything in a database. You inherit from that page model, and you create all your content types. So whatever
Mm-hmm.
kind of site you're building, since we're building a magazine site, we've built a magazine index, magazine issues, and articles, and all of those inherit from page. Then we have snippets, which are these reusable content. So departments are basically like kind of like categories for the articles to go under. So that's the little thing. The snippets you see over here. Magazine departments. And then today I just built a featured article. So I'll show you how these content models work. Because this is all there is to it. And it's only it's just over 100 lines of code to
Right.
do a fully functional site. Well, I mean, not fully functional, but it's really concise the way you can define things.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So basically, if I go to the front and I say magazine, you know, bear with the fact that it's not very pretty. It's no style. But
Yeah.
if I click edit this page, you'll see a title and an intro. Every page in Wagtail has a title field for free, basically. And then I just defined the intro as a rich text. What that does is it gives the editor the control over this area of the page. This is all dynamic. I'll look at those in a second. But basically, when you're defining the way a page editing experience works, you say, hey, here's the content panels. So everything in this content tab, you just tell it what to show there. We'll come back to that again. There's two other tabs you can add stuff to, and you can define your own tabs. Like if you're doing search engine optimization, you can put some SEO tabs here. Another cool thing is that in our system, we want to publish magazine articles as part of magazine issues, but not the other way around. We don't want a magazine issue to be underneath a magazine article. So you control the content hierarchy. And so Wagtail lets you define sub-page types and parent page types so that you only, on the magazine index page, you can only add a magazine issue. And on a magazine issue, you can only add a magazine article. So if I come back here to pages, this is our magazine index. And if I add a child page, it immediately adds a magazine issue. No questions asked. Otherwise, it lets you add any content type. And if I go to one of these magazine issues, it only lets me add a magazine article. Part of Wagtail. Let's just drill down a little bit. Magazine issue has a cover image. So this is an example of the media handling that comes for free. That's been tricky. Like even in Drupal, we have really had to wrestle with how to handle images and things like that.
I'm not familiar with Drupal, but I've heard many things about it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of really nice things about it, but at the end of the day, we decided for the next generation of the website, we're going to go into Python and Wagtail. But you know, back to that same thing, you got that image chooser uploader from your file system. Everything's handled. Basically, all I had to do was define it, like 5 lines of code, and it gives you this all the UI, publication date, field actually above there. It gives you a calendar widget just without even having to do any fancy JavaScript or anything like that.
Right.
And I just built out this related articles, so we can add one or more featured articles here. Gives you a page chooser where you can search through your content type, content, and find articles. And it also has a built-in publication workflow, so you can draft things. You can have a hierarchy of who can publish things. You can have people collaborating, but an editor that has the final say in the go live. So that's really powerful. We'll get more into this, but basically some fields, I'll just explain briefly. Some fields are actually stored in the database, different data types, and some fields are more like virtual. They're computed at runtime. So Django gives you the ability to define those as properties on your model. And all we do is a function that you access with a dot.
Right. So it's not a method per se. It's a function.
Yeah, it's similar. Basically, it's a method that you access without having to do like the parentheses. Yeah, methods are basically functions that are attached to a class.
Sure.
Yeah, and then so here we just define the content panels, and then you can also override the data that comes back into the view. So let's take a look at another sort of a magic thing in terms of not having to explicitly wire it up. But when you create a magazine issue, it knows that if you have a magazine issue.html to link the model magazine issue with this template. it just does that without any explicit wiring. You can override that, but what we've done here in the template is just created a basic HTML that has all of our like metadata and some room for SEO stuff. And this is just regular HTML5.
Okay.
So you got to know a little bit of that, obviously, to work with a web publishing platform. That's requisite knowledge. Then this templating language gives you blocks that you can insert content into.
I noticed that. Is that templating from Django?
Yeah.
That's why it looks familiar.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And in JavaScript, I've worked with a similar one called handlebars. So you give these blocks names like extra CSS if you want to inject some styles into a specific page.
Sure.
Body class is going to let us put a class on the body for different pages that for your CSS selectors. There's some template tags, like the user bar is what basically shows, I think this thing is the user bar that goes in there. And then we have a content block that starts out empty, and each page will and a field for extra JS in your footer. So let's take a look at it. So that's our base HTML. Everything's in extending that, and we don't have to rewrite all that. You start with the base, and then you you bring in some Wagtail specific thing for images. Then you start injecting content. This is just regular Django stuff. So even if you never do Wagtail, you'll get familiar with this in Django. And our content for the magazine issue, we're going to print the page title here. We're going to print the page cover image. And this is a Wagtail image tag that has this cool thing that it'll let you constrain the dimensions of something so that in your template, your image is never going to spill over the page. It'll be always the right size. Then the Django templating has some basic logic. You can put if statements in there. So if there's a publication date, we want to show this. And here we have the publication date model field and the publication end date model property, which is that computed property that we just, it's kludgy, but we said 31 days because we wanted to display 2 months since this issue is relevant for 2 months. So that's it. And then what I just created today is this featured articles section. And it says if there are some featured articles, if it's more than 0, for each of those, display a link. So you got your for loop. This is similar to Python. And then it's got some template helpers. When we imported this Wagtail tags, it gave URL tag. So anything in here is with these curly brace percent is called a template tag. And they usually will start off with something like that. If it's double curly, then it's actually a property in your data that you're sending in there. Now this was a tricky one. It took us a while to figure out, but I'll explain this. This articles by department. This was kind of cool. You can override the context, and all that context means in a lot of these frameworks is that it's what is available to your template. It's the information that's available when you're rendering this template.
Are you talking about a context manager? Is that basically what it is?
Not really. Context manager it has some more responsibilities. It's related because the context manager will like clean up stuff. It runs functions before and after. I think your actual context is created, including cleanup scripts. So like if you create a TCP connection, you can have the context manager automatically clean that up for you rather than having to close it yourself or a database connection. It's your memory, but yeah, this is just context. It's just data basically that goes into this template. And by default, your context is pretty much just what's available to the model instance. But we wanted to show articles by department. We needed to sort them by department name. Which department, if you recall, was that that snippet? Where did I define that? I'm having troubles finding that.
I remember. Yeah, I don't. I think it was on the top. No, I don't know.
Oh yeah, actually, it's defined here. Magazine department.
I would have been so excited to work in a project like that. So I could at least not only be a fly on the wall, but at least contribute and get my hands dirty a little bit or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's see. Well, I can't find how I define that. It's kind of funny. It's kind of late here, so I don't want to dig in too much. But
Yeah, I know. I know you got to get going because you have to go sleep for work tomorrow, right?
yeah. So let's see. But that's about it. So when we grouped them by department with this regroup function, which is part of Django, and then we could display a header and list the articles within that department. This is all pretty well documented in Django.
Yeah, I'm going through the TDD book
All right.
by Percival, the Python TDD,
Cool.
and so I'm learning quite a bit from that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Does that one work with Django?
It is. It's Django. It's Django based. It's web development. It's Python. You could say full stack. It worked. The whole book is just based on one app, so it takes you from zero to like a full blown application. But the beauty of it is like you're learning TDD at the same time, and you're learning a little bit of DevOps. You're learning a lot of Linux. So it's a hands-on for sure. I made tons of mistakes. I had a mentor like guide me because I did it a different way. I didn't use SQLite. I used Postgres for my database. So I injected another challenge into the app. So I'm thinking about using Ansible instead of Fabric. The book uses Fabric, and I'm using Ansible.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, the closer you can stick by it, though, the faster you'll learn. And then once you've gotten the basics down, it's good to then start branching out.
Yeah.
But generally, with regards to databases, Django ORM is going to give you pretty much you should really be using the database you expect to be using in production.
That's exactly what I read. That's the reason why I did that. Is because of that.
Okay. I mean, I'm working with SQLite here, though, to be honest, and so I'm not really following my own device, and that's the advice in Cookie Cutter, or what's it called? 2 Scoops of Django.
Yeah, 2 Scoops.
That's a really good book. But that's the site in a nutshell. I don't think there's any other tricks we're doing here. Most of the code is real declarative and straightforward. Regroup was one of the more complicated things we've done.
All right. So Wagtail, you think is CMS driven? It's more like for magazines or complex, layouts more than anything.
Yeah, it's anything you want to give a quick way to manage content to people who aren't really coders. If you don't want to spend a lot of time building out a content management UI, if you can just focus on your front end functionality.
Right.
The Django admin is really nice, but it's not designed for content management. It's more of an admin tool for debugging your content.
Right.
And I think a lot of apps are maybe just content management things. If you're building a blog or image sharing site, those are
right.
And so our case with this magazine site, it really fits squarely into that.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Something like Codebuddies is maybe not so much a good solution for Wagtail, and it's built in Meteor.js, in fact.
Yeah, it is.
But you could build a site like this in Django as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to do as much Python as possible. It's the language that I'm attracted to the most, So I wanted to pick out one language that I could be comfortable in and be productive.
Right. What are your sort of favorite parts about Python?
It's the simplicity. I mean, the readability, I should say, not the simplicity, the readability, and um, and yeah, there's not so many things getting into the way in my way of thinking of the logic, because what the problem I have with JS is that although it's so dynamic, it's not a static type language. I mean, Python isn't either, but it's so like wild west. Like some of the best practices I can't focus on, because there's so many so many moving parts, and there's not one way of doing things. In Python, there's the whole ethic of there's one way to solve a problem. There
Yeah.
might be a couple, but usually the explicit one is better than implicit, right? So
Right.
it's like it helps me learn programming faster, I think. So that way, when I do, you know, jump into another language, I'll be able to at least get the algorithm down. It's just a matter of just learning the syntax afterwards, But
Right.
I just want to get the whole tool set of algorithmic thinking before I move on to. Well, that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, that makes sense. And some other things that I like about Python is, um, its batteries included, so it helps that you need
Right.
for a lot of your projects. You don't have to. So far, we haven't had to turn to anything but Django and Wagtail for this site. Now I know they're built on a bunch of other libraries,
Right.
but in terms of my code that I'm writing, I don't have to focus on outside dependencies.
Yeah.
And even when we solved this thing with this date field
Hmm.
for magazine issues, I was able to solve it with core time delta, so something straight out of Python core. It wasn't the most elegant thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, and ecosystem matters though.
Yeah, I
And
know. And the
documentation.
community too. The Python community is so friendly.
Yeah,
I never seen so much outpouring, like sharing and like checking up on me. Sometimes I have a bad week, and somebody out of the blue would just say, "Hey, how you doing? How's the programming going?" So things like that really, you know, keeps you up. Makes you want to keep moving.
right. That's what this Codebuddies is good for too. I
Yeah.
hope they have something on here soon where we can like ping each other and like send a message, or it's not quite as social as I think it could be for
No,
this.
there's so much thing that she's doing. She's well, this it's a community base. It's just I guess
Yeah,
it's just a matter of priority, huh? It's just the
yeah.
there's a
And there is the Slack.
yeah. Yeah.
Are you on the Slack?
I'm
Have you
on the
registered
Slack.
on that?
I am on the Slack.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
done that yet. I'll have to do that. What else do we have?
You haven't signed up on it.
Yeah, not yet. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, this forum's good though. I really
Okay.
like it. It's built in Ruby.
I didn't even see the form. I haven't arrived there yet.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I think we'll probably have to keep up to date on the forum and
Okay.
the
Okay.
Slack.
So that's your nickname, Briley?
Yeah, I'll register that on these, and I'm on GitHub as Briley as well.
Okay. I'm actually Albert Fuji on GitHub. It's easy to
Albert
find
Fuji.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my name without the A in the middle, basically.
FU
Fougy.
OUG.
Fougy. Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
Japanese. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there you are. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like you
Yeah.
got a lot of activity going on right now. Really cool.
Yeah,
What was
yeah.
it?
I'm digging deep into that. You see that repo OBTTG? That's what I'm
Yeah.
working on. I'm drilling into that. So
Yeah.
a lot of I made a lot of mistakes. I'm cleaning up. I just discovered a mistake this morning, and then I just gotta. But that's the book. I'm
Yeah.
following. It's really in depth. I mean, I highly recommend it for beginners, which
Yeah.
you're not. But
Well, I am. I'm
yeah,
still learning. I'm always a beginner. I think
yeah,
that's the thing I need to remind myself.
yeah. So it's the
Yeah.
best. It's the best. I even chatted with the author. He's that open.
That's nice. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. He even hooked me up on Twitter. We've been chat. I'm not on Twitter anymore, but he's on my LinkedIn and everything. So yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, it's like they're real down to earth people. Like
Right.
even, you can contact the, like founder of the internet, like the inventor of the internet and things like that in the solid chat. I mean, these people are like here now for us, and
Hmm.
they're not above us. They're just other humans out there who are, inspired
Sure.
and doing
I love it.
cool
I
work.
love it.
Tim Berners-Lee's in the solid chat on
Yeah. 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 All
solid
right. So
chat.
I know you got to go sleep. I know it's really late over there. I really appreciate you standing up to show me. I mean, obviously, we're just touching the surface here. Maybe next time I catch you a little bit earlier, we could go more in depth. You know.
Sounds good. I'll schedule the hangout more in advance too. This was short notice,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I don't know how to coordinate the time though. Um, the
yeah,
UTC was a little bit off. It said that and my time is supposed to be 6 o'clock, but apparently that's not the case. So we
mm,
got to figure it out. All right.
yeah. All right, I'll look for you next weekend. I think I'll host another hangout like Friday night, something like that.
Just send me a DM if you can. That'd be
Yeah.
great in case I miss it because I have 7 other Slack channels happening.
All
So
right.
that would be great if you could like send me a message or something. I don't know how to get the announcements, but I'll keep checking in then. I guess I'll keep checking in.
All right. Sounds good.
All right then. Have a good night.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you, Albert.
All right. Likewise. Take care. All right. Bye.
Okay, that's it. I'm going to wrap up the live stream now. It's good to have a fellow coder towards the tail end and recap a little bit of the code we've written so far. We'll see Albert around the community more. Thank you all for anybody who's watching this online. And if you'd like to get a hold of me, feel free to leave a comment on YouTube or the Internet Archive. Also, feel free to open an issue in GitHub, or I'll be looking forward to seeing you around on the Codebuddies Slack channel or forum. Anyway, have a great day.